Hey guys, it's Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and today we're going to take a look at a game called Revolution. Revolution is a game from Steve Jackson Games and one of our favorite designers, Philip DeBerry. And it plays 2 to 4 players or 2 to 6 if you have one of the expansions, which I'm going to be showing you one of the expansions. And it plays pretty quickly. I don't know what the box says. It doesn't really have a time, but you could probably bang this out in an hour or less. It's not going to, drag on forever. And what you're doing in this game is you are trying to bribe different government officials. I'm going to use bribe in quotes because sometimes you're going to blackmail, sometimes you just got to punch a guy in the face, to get your influence out on the board in different locations to basically get like an area control. So this is a blind bidding game where you're going to put some stuff behind your little player board, and based on whoever bid the most on each of these officials is going to determine who gets the benefit of that person. So that's enough talking about it. Let's go to the table, check it out. All right, so here's a game of Revolution, all set up for 3 players with the Palace expansion. So when you're setting up, you're going to put the board out in the middle. If you're playing with a palace, you're going to put the palace out to cover up the center square here. It's going to give you more places to go and do some area control. Then you're going to give each player this player board if you're playing with the palace, which got, 16 spaces. Otherwise, you're going to have 12 if you're not playing with the palace. You're going to get a pile of cubes of your color. 3 gold coins, 1 blackmail, 1 force, scoring marker that's 200 and 300, and you'll put your little bomb scoring right here on 0. And then each player is also going to get a player screen, which I'm not going to use just so you can see it, but you need to have the player screen because this is a blind bidding game. But it's going to give you the breakdown of of the order of these tokens here and how they win. So that is that. And you can only place bids onto 6 spaces. All right, so the way this game works is, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be bidding on actions on this board to try to get your cubes out to influence the area. Each area is worth some points. So 25 support is points, 40 support, 45, 55, so on and so forth. You're trying to have at the end of the game, you want to have more of your color cubes here to get the support. If there's a tie, nobody gets the support, I believe. But you just try to focus on not having a tie and having the most. The way that this works is, behind your screen, you're going to be bidding with gold, blackmail, and force to take the actions on this board. Now, there are some restrictions. The ones in red cannot have force. The ones in black cannot have black. If they have red or black, you can't use either. So brown can be anything, but everything else has some restrictions. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to focus on the green player just so you can kind of see what's going on because I want to show you some actions. So I'm going to put 2 gold on the printer. He's going to give me 10 support if I win. I'm going to do a force and a bribe on the viceroy. And you have to use all your tokens. And I'm going to go to the merchant. And then this player wants to force the printer. I'm just going to randomly do some stuff here. All right. And then they will force the aristocrat, blackmail, the general, and I'll use the mayor. All right. So now when that's done and everybody's got their bids out, you'll remove your screen and then we'll fire off. So we'll start with the general and we'll just go this way to fire off. So general, blackmail goes away. They're going to get to do it, which is 1 support. So blue will get 1 support. 1 force. They'll get a force back, which is pretty nice to use next round. And influence the fortress. So blue gets to influence the fortress. So now they're in the lead on the fortress. All right, then we'll go to the captain. Orange influence the captain with some bribery. So they get 1 support. 1 force. They're also getting force. Oof, that's not going to be good for green. And influence the harbor. So they will influence the harbor. Innkeeper, no one. Magistrate, no one. Now we're down to the viceroy. I used a lot of power on the viceroy. But I get to influence the palace, which is good. And now I also get to occupy the guardhouse. When you occupy the guardhouse, all of your cubes on the board cannot be manipulated. So the guardhouse is pretty powerful. It doesn't count as the majority here, but it does give you a really special ability, so that's awesome. The priest is this player. They're the only one that bid on the priest, so they get rid of their gold. They get 6 points for orange. Influence cathedral. Okay. And then aristocrat. This player bid 2 gold, but gold is trumped by force, so they get to do it. And that is 5 support for blue. What else? 3 gold for next round. And then influence the plantation. Where's the plantation? All right, right there. Then we'll go to the merchant. I was the only one that bid on the merchant. So I get 3 support, 5 gold, which is pretty awesome. Although gold is the weakest, but having a lot of it lets you spread your stuff around, so hopefully you can get something that other players aren't bidding on. So 5 gold, and then I get to influence the market, which is here. All right, then we're to the printer. I did 2 gold on the printer, but this person did force on the printer. Printer just gives you 10 points, so orange gets 10 support. What else do we got? The only other thing is the mayor. 3 gold for blue, so they get to do the mayor. Influence any open influence space. Ooh, and that is blue. And they are going to do tavern. No, they'll come down here to the fortress, get another cube. All right, and that's the end of the round. Now, what happens here is if you have less than 5 tokens, you make up the difference in gold. So in this case, I have 5 coins, so I don't get anything else. They have 3 coins and a force, so they'll get another gold. They have 1 force, and they will get 4 coins. And then we will play again. So we bid again to try to keep getting influence out. The game ends when all the cube spaces are filled, and at that point we'll fire off the area majority, and whoever has the most points is the winner. Let's go over a few more actions. You saw most of them, but you saw a lot of them. Again, they're all just going to influence the space and maybe give you some things. So the innkeeper, 3 support, gives you 1 blackmail and an influence the tavern, which is cool. The magistrate, 1 support, 1 blackmail, influence town hall, which is right there. We did the viceroy. The priest is 6 support, influence cathedral, which we did that. Aristocrat, 5 support, 3 gold, influence plantation. We did that. Merchant, 3 support, 5 gold, influence market. We did the printer. Spy, replace 1 influence cube with 1 of your own. So that's kind of a mean one. So I could go over here, bump somebody out, and put mine in there. Apothecary, swap the cubes in any 2 influence spaces. So I could do this type of thing. If I want, oh, not that thing. I don't think you can do the guardhouse, but I could do this type of thing if I wanted to, so on and so forth. But only the green person will be able to manipulate a green cube because of the guardhouse, so keep that in mind. Messenger, you get 3 points. Reassign up to 2 of your cubes already on the board, so if I wanted to go to a different location, I could do that. Mayor, we did the mayor. The constable, 5 support, 1 blackmail. Rogue, 2 blackmail. And mercenary, 3 support, 1 force. It's a pretty straightforward game. You're just bidding, trying to have more of your cubes out on the board than your opponents. There is a variant where if you don't win an auction, you can keep your tokens that you spend. Yes, it's nicer, but part of the fun of this game is trying to outthink your opponents. That's a bidding game. Granted, normally when you're doing an auction, you don't lose the stuff that you bid if you don't win, but this makes it tougher and tighter, and I kind of enjoy that. So that is how you play Revolution with the Palace expansion. So let's go up to top, see what we think about it. All right, well, that was Revolution with the Palace expansion. And before we go into the final thoughts, I do want to mention one thing. I don't know if I said in the overview that the hierarchy of the tokens. I showed it on the player board quickly, but I didn't talk about it. So coin is the lowest, then blackmail, then force. So if I bid with coins on a person and someone else bids blackmail, they would beat me out. But if someone then puts force in that same location, they would outbid everybody because force is the strongest. So I didn't go into that, but there is a hierarchy in the tokens, which I did mention a little bit, but I didn't explain the hierarchy. So I wanted to clear that up here. So let's talk about this game. Usually I would talk about components here. You saw the components. There's some cubes, some cardboard chits, and the board. That's it. I'm not going to belabor the component point. I think they're fine. I like the artwork of the board. It's a Steve Jackson game. He doesn't really do lots of great components. But it doesn't take away from the game at all. It basically, you're just putting cubes out. You need to have a place to put some cubes. So the cubes are fine. So I'm good. This is a great game. It is fantastic. It's kind of mean because there are going to be times when you put all of your tokens on one person, but someone comes in and they have more or better tokens than you and they beat you. You do absolutely nothing in that round. And that's hard to stomach. That's tough. But it's so fun. It's all accidental meanness. Like, I don't know what you're going to bid. And in the expansion, you're playing with 16 different characters. You can only bid on 6. So there's 10 that I could try to get that you're not using, but I may not want to use those 10. So it's that kind of game that you're playing with your opponents. So while I'm just focused on myself where I'm trying to get cubes out, yeah, you can kind of see what everybody's doing and you can go there to just mess them over. But I'm really trying to just look out for myself. And if I happen to mess you up along the way, so be it. That's part of sparking a revolution, I guess. Yeah, we talk about this game on the channel a ton. We like designer Philip DeBerry. He's close to where we live in Ohio. And he does a lot of other great games like Black Orchestra, Spirits of the Rice Paddy, Courtier, just so many. I don't want to keep naming because I'll miss some. And I know, I don't want to shortchange him on the games that he's designed. But this one is one of my favorites from him. It's not a deep strategic game. It's not a heavy Euro game. It's just a fun game. And sometimes you just want to play a fun game. And that's what Revolution sits for me. So I'm going to give Revolution a BGM accepted seal. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. That's how much I like it on BGG, which is a 4.5 out of 5 wrenches on an arbitrary wrench scale that means absolutely nothing. But we like to give it the games that we enjoy, and that's what I am going to do. I enjoy Revolution, and I'm not going to apologize for it. So that's Revolution from Steve Jackson Games and designer Philip DeBerry. I'm Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and as always, keep gaming.